Gary Laubauch down on the field right after the football game today. John, number one, it goes into the L column, but maybe that's not so important. You got one under your belt. You tell me how you assess today's efforts.
Well, all we're concerned about is how they play, and they competed really, really hard, both offensively and defensively. We'll clean some of the execution up. That's what I told them after the game, that we battled them, matched them toe-to-toe. We just got to execute better.
0-0, almost to the very end of the first half. They get that score at the end, which obviously hurt. Coming out of the locker room, they had momentum, and they certainly took advantage of it.
Well, you know, they had the ball, and they got that senior offensive line, and they started running it, and you know, wore our guys down a little bit, and we were rotating the defensive line as best we could, but you know, that was showing up that they were able to just use their size and run it against us, and when you can run the ball like that, you can control the game.
Freshman quarterback Sean O'Malley looked really good at times, looked like a freshman at times. Your assessment?
Well, that kid's a special kid now. For him to come in here on the road and compete like that and never take a backward step to anybody, even after a plays he didn't execute very well, or we got backed up on the change, that kid is awesome, and he's just going to get better and better.
Running game obviously problematic. The numbers will show that. Your thoughts about the offensive line and how they played today and how they'll get better?
Well, that's one thing they'll definitely do is get better. This game experience is the first one for a couple of the guys. They battled really well too. And I love the way the offense responded. When they got ahead, they just came right back and scored and just kept playing. But with the offensive line, freshmen are going to get better, sophomores, juniors, seniors, everybody gets better, and that's what we're looking for next week.
Final touchdown, I think, indicative of the fact that nobody quit out here. They played right to the very end. I'm not sure the final score is indicative of how well Lafayette did play.
Well, that's true. We tell the guys all the time, it's not about the score. We got plenty of people to look at the scoreboard. You guys got to execute your job, and they did that. They just kept playing. I'm really proud of the effort.
John, thank you very much. We'll see you next week at Sacred Heart.
Okay,
all right.
Got it. All
right. Matt Mrazek again. Matt, you're kind of a veteran here in post-game ceremonies, but another good day. You were ignored a little bit in the first half with just that one catch, but certainly became the focus of the attack in the second half.
Yeah, you know, our game plan is going to vary from week to week, and you know, we just have to trust in our coaches to come up with the right plan. And at the end of the day, it comes on us to execute. So.
Sean O'Malley at times I thought looked absolutely outstanding. He threw some beautiful balls during the ball game, and I think once he finally found out where you were and then spread the ball a little bit around, the passing game looked pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, our passing game's always been a strong suit, and like Coach Garrett said, you know, Sean's going to be a special player. So, you know, I think for him to come out here, away game against a good Monmouth team for his first game, you know, I think he showed a lot of poise. And like I said, it's going to be on us to really execute and kind of help bring him up, because at the end of the day, he is a freshman. So.
I know how much you guys wanted to win this ball game for Coach Garrett. That didn't happen, but I get a sense that in the locker room the emotion's still high, and obviously you guys are still very positive.
No, definitely. You know, there's no hanging heads on this team. We're all really itching to get Coach Garrett his first W here as the head coach. So, you know, like I said, hats off to Monmouth. They were a better team than us today. But now it's gonna come up and about getting ready for next week. So.
Well, we're gonna get ready for next week too. We'll see you against Sacred Heart. Thank you, Matt Mrazek, who had a terrific day this afternoon. Well, we can't analyze a football game without Mike Joseph. Mike and I down here today. Mike spent most of the afternoon on the sideline. I was up in the booth, and Mike, you saw everything firsthand down here. Number one, first half, I thought the Leopards' tackling was just outstanding. I thought Jerry Poe had a terrific football game overall. Defensively, not so bad. Those 3 possessions, 3 straight touchdowns really hurt.
Yeah, and it is a different perspective when you're down on the field. You get a real good look at how fast these kids actually move. And I was overly impressed with the way that Coach Thompson got these kids to run to the football. Not just the DBs in the secondary, but the defensive linemen, the way they attacked and attacked and attacked. But there was that little lull, like you said, at the end of that first half, and that double possession that I always talk about. Into the end of the first half, score, coming out of the second half, they were worn down a little bit, and it took its hammer on them.
And then we do score, make it 14-6, but we missed that extra point. We missed a field goal in the first half. It looks like now we may have lost Jake Bissell for a bit as he got injured on that extra point. Special teams today, which is a third of a football game, kind of struggled.
Yeah, they let him down today. It really did, and it let him down on the fact that they got a field goal blocked when they could have taken the lead 3-0. And when you take the lead on the road, that obviously does great things for yourself, but it makes the other team think a little bit. Now we're down at home opening game, so I think that was a huge thing. And then obviously the punt got blocked a little bit. There were some other things. They did not complete an extra point. So special teams was a big play today. It let them down, and it didn't add to any of their psyche.
We talked all spring and into the summer how we were going to have some problems with the offensive line, and I think that held out today as the rushing yardage was minimum at best, and certainly we struggled along the line of scrimmage. We did, I think, eventually protect Sean O'Malley pretty well.
I was impressed the way the kids pass blocked. I really was. But at the point of attack, getting to move people and getting some movement up front, they're going to have to maybe change things up or continue to work harder at getting movement, because right now Deshaun Brown is really running into a brick wall. He doesn't have a lot of room to move. A couple times when he tried to bounce it to the outside, you saw the speed of a Monmouth team get to the corner, but they're going to have to do some things up front. Pass pro-wise, I thought Sean O'Malley was protected pretty darn well. Got the ball out of his hands, but again, this offensive line, as I said before, how they go is how many points the Lafayette's going to score.
Sacred Heart next week, what one area do you think needs to improve the most for the Leopards to come up with a win?
Well, number one, special teams has to be better. Have to be better. You cannot have blocked extra points and things like that. You've got to be better on special teams because, as John says, Garrett says, it transforms field position. And Lafayette today in the first half suffered from field position. They were down inside their 20, sometimes inside their 10. You can't open the playbook up, so that's got to be number one. Number two, they got to find a way at the point of attack to move the football running the ball. You cannot average, again, less than 5 yards rushing for an entire game. Must do that because, again, you see how the Lafayette Leopards can do when they can throw the football. They're exceptional.
Well, that's the improvement we will look for. We will be there. We'll have the Sacred Heart game for you next Saturday at 6 o'clock as the Leopards play their first home game at Fisher Stadium. We'll be there. We want you to join us on the Lafayette Sports Network. For Mike, I'm Gary. We'll see you next week.